My name is Jamin Goecker. I'm an associate real estate broker in the state of Alaska. My mission is to help you to build an intentional and significant legacy for yourself and your family by coaching you in real estate. And today we're going to be talking about whether or not you are the type of person who should be moving to Alaska. We'll kind of go through some of these characteristics. This is obviously not the hard rules. If you don't fit whatever mold it is that I'm talking about, you still want to move up here, perfectly fine. Just giving you an idea for kind of the culture that we have up here. Before we get started though, as always, make sure you do give this video a like and subscribe, because I know a lot of you folks see this content, you don't actually subscribe, and that hurts my feelings and it doesn't help us in the algorithm. So do make sure you go ahead and subscribe so more people like you can get this content that's going to help them make the best decision for themselves and their families in the future. Now, let's go ahead and talk about the type of person usually who ends up moving to Alaska. One of the big things, if you're considering whether or not you're the type of person who's going to be able to fit in up here, is are you willing to commit to the outdoor lifestyle? And by that, I mean, if you have an absolutely beautiful day out there, are you going to just be playing video games, watching TV, or are you going to go get out and do some hiking, paddle boarding, kayaking, whatever your cup of tea is, just to get outside? And if the answer is, no, then a lot of the outdoors of Alaska, a lot of the appeal is going to be kind of wasted on you. So just something to keep in mind. You don't have to be super into it right now. Maybe you don't have a lot of nature where you're at. The outdoors is really just not that big of a deal. But are you willing to commit to that more outdoors lifestyle once you do get here? That's the question. The next indicator I would ask you is, number one, do you already have a social network up here? Most people don't. And are you willing to go find a network, and are you willing to socialize? And the reason that I say this is so important is because if you come up here, especially during the winter time, and you just don't have any kind of a support network, and you just don't really have any friends you can go and do stuff with, that is going to make the tough times of living in Alaska during the winter time really challenging. And for that reason, I always encourage people, hey, let's get you out, let's socialize. Even if you're not a church goer, that's just not your faith, I would still recommend going and getting plugged into a church, even if it's just something to get you out of the house and get you into some kind of a ready-made community. So there's a lot of different stuff that you can do. I'm just throwing out some ideas, but yes, make sure that you are someone that can at least has those skills to go and socialize with people and create that network, because it's going to be really important. And I know a lot of people look at Alaska and they're like, oh, I'm going to go live off grid and be isolated, I'm not going to talk to anybody. And it's like, well, no, as a matter of fact, the more remote you get, the more important those relationships are that you're going to have. So I would say be at least willing to put in some work to kind of build that social network when you do get here. And actually, we do have some meetups. I might as well talk about that now. We do have some meetups once a month that we host, and details about that is going to be on our Facebook group for the Alaska Monthly Meetup. Details about that is going to be in the description section down below. But once a month, we'll go do something for anyone who's moved up here and just wanting to kind of connect with people. And we do simple stuff like go for hikes, sledding. We did a photo shoot a couple months ago, I should say. So there's a lot of stuff that we do. It's just designed to kind of get people out and to actually meet each other and connect. So yeah, get out, socialize. That's the main point. The third indicator as to whether or not Alaska is going to be a good fit for you is whether or not you have a need to have a flashy lifestyle. If you're the type of person where you need everyone to be oohing and awing over your car, or which corner office you have or anything like that, Alaska, at least that part, your behaviors, identity, whatever you want to call it, probably not going to be totally in line. Alaska is really not a pretentious kind of a state. Most people are just not going to care about your title or what it is that you're driving. And if really that flashy lifestyle is important to you, Alaska just might not be your cup of tea. Now, point number 4 I would give you is you need to be kind of altruistic when you're moving up here. And the reason that that's so important in Alaska is we don't have that big of a community to begin with. And if you are just a help myself and everyone else be damned, then that's, first off, you're going to set yourself for failure very quickly, because it's a small community and it's a small town and everyone's going to know who you are pretty quickly. And secondly, it's a small community and your options to be able to plug in and make a difference are pretty high. If that's not your impulse, if you don't want to to help other people, then I mean, that is what it is. But if you really want to fit in up here, I've seen a lot of people who've been able to make big impacts just because they were willing to plug in and, you know, kind of see how they can help other people. And there's a lot of ways that you can plug in and help and make the place better. And because we are kind of a smaller community, it's really important that you kind of move in here and kind of have the altruistic mindset on how you can improve the community. So be altruistic as you're moving up here. All right, now this next one is that you should be willing to laugh at yourself and be willing to try new things, because most of the time when you're moving up here to Alaska, you have never done dip netting or done a whole lot of things outdoors wise that a lot of people really get drawn towards the state to go and do. And for that reason, you just have to be willing to laugh at yourself and, you know, not be the best at something as you're looking at moving in here, because there's going to be so much that is just going to be brand new to you, and you have to be able to laugh at yourself. I know I'm probably going to get some heat for this next one, but if you're moving to Alaska, try to avoid the impulse of getting up here and instantly wanting to shut the door behind you. And that's a very natural impulse. You move up here and you immediately want to stop anyone else from ever moving up here, and not a great impulse. You know, we have a high turnover rate here in Alaska anyway. Probably not going to be, you know, breaking 1 million population, even though our land-wise we're absolutely enormous. Like if you combine Texas, California, and Montana together, Alaska would still be bigger than all of those combined. And we have like 730-odd thousand people who live here. So obviously we're not overpopulated. So try to avoid the impulse of moving up here and just instantly saying, well, you know, let's instantly try to shut the door behind us, which is, you know, just the natural impulse when you're migrating to any area. Best thing I can say, Alaska is big enough for everyone. And, you know, if it's your dream of being up here, chances are it's going to be their dream as well. There's a lot of responsibility in living up here. And as long as we're attracting the people who do have the intention of being responsible with the state and being a good steward of it, then I see no issue with more people being up here. I know I am really going to take some heat for this one, but if your reputation is not important to you, then you might think twice about moving to Alaska. If you're someone where, you know, just how you do business is, I'm going to say it, if how you do business is cowardly, there's a tough conversation and you just choose not to have the conversation at all, or just any number of things, if you're kind of just cowardly in how you do things, then that reputation is going to come back in a big way, because this is a small community and people do not want to have anything to do with you if you're burning bridges left and right. There's just not enough bridges up here for you just perpetually to burn through. So understand reputation is going to be really important when you get up here. And if you're the person who's known as being unreliable, being cowardly, someone who, you know, when push comes to shove, like you're going to fudge one way or the other, you're not going to, you know, really stand on what you actually believe, then Alaska is going to be kind of a rocky place for you to live, because it's a smaller community and people are going to know who you are. You can't just disappear into the crowd like you can in like a big metropolis. So this next one I'm pretty sure we can all agree on, and that is if you were a complainer, Alaska's probably not going to be a good option for you. And the thing is with complaining, I mean, we all do it at a certain level, but if your natural default is that you're going to be looking for things that you're unhappy about, you're going to be able to find a decent amount in Alaska. And that just really is the case anytime you have a state where there are extremes. The same could be said of Hawaii, by the way. I know quite a few people who have actually moved from Hawaii to Alaska, and you know, they talked with them. There's definitely some concerns and some grievances there that you could be complaining about. The main thing, though, is that your default where you're always going to be complaining, or can we all just acknowledge, yeah, the cold sucks and move on from there? So that's really the main difference. This one should kind of go without saying, but are you adventurous? You know, Alaska is known as the last frontier, and there's just incredible things that you can do throughout the entire state, throughout the entire year. And there's a ton of things that you can do that's going to be fun and adventurous and new. And if you're just going to be sitting like inside for the entire time, it's going to be kind of a wasted opportunity. So if you're going to be moving up here, having kind of that adventurous spirit is really going to help you to fit in a lot better than if you just stayed inside. Now, a final thought that I have is just to keep in mind that you can be the absolute perfect person with everything that we've talked about here. And yes, Alaska is still what I want to do. Absolutely 100%. I'm all in. Let's do this. But just keep in mind, a lot of people live in Alaska for a certain phase of their lives. You know, they're here for 3, 4, 5, 10 years, and it's a great phase of their lives. And things change for them, though. And they realize, hey, you know, I need to be a little bit closer to family, or have another opportunity over here, or, you know, Alaska's been great, but it's starting to wear on me for this reason or that reason. And just know that that's okay. There are phases of your life where Alaska is going to be absolutely perfect, and you should enjoy it, and you should really cherish the time of being here. But also, just understand that Alaska does not change with you. It's always going to be Alaska. And if you fit up with it, great. And it's not going to change with you as you start going through these different phases in life. That phase in life that you're in, either personally, professionally, whatever, doesn't line up with the state, then just know that it's perfectly fine and there's no shame in being able to look elsewhere and just cherish the memories that you had while you were here. This has been my video talking about the type of people who usually are going to find themselves moving to Alaska. I hope it's been helpful. If you have any questions about moving up here, do feel free to reach out to me on my website. Link for that is going to be in the description section down below. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.